Sheeko Sheeko.
People in our community, a lot of young people that are getting married at a very young age. Mm-hmm. Lots of benefits, lots of positivity with that, great. But we also notice there's a very large rate of them that are getting divorced as well. And when we try to look at the numbers and we did our research, we could not find the actual divorce rate that's happening in our community because a lot of people just get married. So what they do is you go to a sheikh, you do your meher, right? Like your nikah. Sorry, my apologies, nikah. And then that's Islamically. A lot of people don't do it in the government as well. So they don't really go to a courthouse and do their papers. So when it's time to get divorced, you just go to a sheikh. Bada boom, bada bing, you call it a day, end of story. So that's why we couldn't find a lot of the divorce rate. But my question to you is, do you find that there's a high divorce rate? Are you finding a lot of people in your lives that are divorced that are in our age group?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah?
For sure. It happens a lot, yeah.
Do you know a lot of people?
Yeah, I know a lot. I think people are just not prepared or ill-equipped to understand the other person. So you're walking into a marriage that's supposed to be for a lifetime with somebody you don't know. You know what I mean? So then you're going to find out shit that you do not appreciate about this person, and it's just going to go south.
Yeah. Do you know more people that are married or divorced?
More divorced, 1,000 times more. It's
really?
not even, it's like, the ratio is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they jump into these things. Like, I understand it's people falling in love with the idea of marriage, not marriage itself. You know what I mean? So there's this whole mythology behind it. Like, your life's going to be, everything is going to, fall like dominoes, boom, 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 if you get married. That's the spiel, right? You're going to hear it. The advice given to us by elders, right now. Yeah. All your chips are going to fall into line, which is bullshit, you know what I mean? So
what are the reasons that because you said a lot of your friends are divorced, what are some of the reasons that they got divorced for?
Well, first of all, they don't know the person. That's the one thing, right? Mm-hmm. So you get into these relationships like, okay, for guys, there's a lack of effort, right, in finding out certain things about the woman. And then for girls, they put extra effort, right? Mm-hmm. But some of the girls are more strategic, you know what I mean, in how they want things. It's not even about the other person. For them, it's just the status. I want to be married, da-da-da. So everything it's part of their life goals, a checklist, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no love, there's no friendship, there's nothing, you know what I mean? I mean, you got to get to know people, you know what I mean? Yeah. And even me, just like dating and whatnot, I've learned you got to be friends with a person because there are some people out there that are just emotional terrorists. You know what I mean?
Emotional terrorists.
Yeah. They're
emotional terrorists.
Yeah, for real, man. Because look, like they'll
drag them.
Guys and girls. This is not. I'm not classifying anybody, but I'm just saying people are gonna do things in a relationship to flex the proverbial muscle, right? Just to show who's running the show, guy or girl.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do underhanded shit. Just to keep you under your thumb, under the thumb.
For example.
You know what I mean?
For example.
We're not going to
Khadija, you're from London. Is it the same thing that's happening here that we see in Toronto and Canada? That there are a lot of people are getting married every other weekend. We're at weddings, right? I think LJ was at a wedding just last weekend. Is it the same thing in London? Do people get married really fast, and then the divorce rate is even more?
I think it's the same thing. Like, you have a lot of young people getting married and then getting divorced quickly. It goes back to what you said. They're falling in love with the idea of marriage at the end of the day. It's not. I feel like they're rushing to get out of their home and do the whole I'm independent, I work, I'm married thing, that they don't actually sit down and realize what it takes to make marriage work. You both need to be patient. That's a major thing, and there's a lack of communication as well, I feel like, between couples, You're not dating anymore, you're not going to see this person at their best. you're going to see them at their damn worst.
Right.
The question is, how are you going to deal with it?
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't deal with it.
You can't just tell your husband, don't call me no more.
Yeah,
Right?
and-
Like when you're dating someone, it's easy to be like, hey, I'm not feeling you no more, bye.
Yeah.
But when you're married to someone, it's like you're in the living room. I get like you're here. I'm at our house. I mean, my house, right? So, Iman, what's your take on that?
I think marriage is hard. I think a lot of people prep for a wedding, not a marriage. They prep for the festivities. They prep for the gifts.
Huge.
But then when that whole shabeel of whatever was a 6 month process is over, and people are done showering you gifts and compliments, and you don't have any more appointments to go to, and you're there, and he's there, and you have your first actual disagreement or your first fight or your first issues, like. That's when shit gets real, and some people can't handle it because they never prepared for that. That's not what they're preparing for. They're preparing for children, a nice home. You know, they weren't prepared for when we have our first problem. How are we going to deal with it? What are we going to do? So, I think people give up easily nowadays in this generation. But then at the same time, I think our priors, our parents, put up with a lot of shit. And I think here with us is we don't fight hard enough. For it, and then they at themselves didn't fight hard enough for themselves and their right to walk away from a marriage, right?
Right.
So it's 50-50. I think before anyone gets married, I know a lot of people say, well, dating's haram and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, okay, maybe it is, but you should really, really have a set of goals, a plan of like, hey, let's be brutally honest. Like, I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is bitch and scream. That's just me. Like, I'm not a morning person. Like, let them know who you are. A lot of people, they fake the funk for the guy.
Yes.
Right.
You know, like,
And vice versa.
they fake it, and vice versa. They fake it. They lie.
Yeah.
Like, why are you lying to her? Like, you're supposed to be your partner, your spouse. So keep it honest, and you'll make it.
Yeah. Speaking of lying to people, right? In our culture, we have a saying. How does it go? It goes, "Ban kuso hare, run kudak," which in translation means, I guess, lie to the person to like reel them in, and then once they're in, and like in, I mean like the cage, they're in. You got them.
Gotcha, bitch. That's what I got the Porsche for.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So once you get that person that you've been courting, then all your realness comes out.
laakiin maamaada odhanayso naag been baa lagu soo xirigeliyaa runna waa lagu dhaqaa waa nacaan been markaad been igu soo xirigeliso runtii ayaa timaada markaa yeelayaan nimay dabeecad xun oo been ay tustay tii runtaa lagu soo baxday kala bood baa imanayo inaan kala tagnaa imanaysa marka hore haddii runtii isu sheegna kabo
Or whatever the case may be. What do you have to say with that? I'll start off with LJ. Like, what do you think of that saying?
Okay, so going back to what Iman was just saying right now and what Khadija was saying, communication is key. Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing. We do give up easily. That's something a lot of people do. Because the thing that you got to understand is when you're marrying someone, I'm not just going to specifically, let's just talk about Somali people, for instance, especially a lot of Somalis always getting divorced, right? But the thing is, the same thing you were saying right now too, we like want to see the concept of marriage. We believe like marriage, especially from our parents. They tell us what a gurso. Everything falls into play. That's one concept that always happens. You know what I mean? Going back to that. Gurso, everything's gonna go better.
Yeah.
Your life sucks right now because you're not married. Go get married. You know what I mean? You're gonna humble down, they say, right? You're gonna get humble. Like dig it don't top.
Yeah.
You're gonna become normal.
Yeah.
That's the concept that we all have in our head. Then you get married. But then they just want the
Fun parts.
concept, the fun parts of marriage. You know what I mean? You gotta accept the person. If you want to be with someone for the rest of your life, you gotta take them for their worst. You don't need to take them for their best because you've already had their best.
Right.
Take them for their worst.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people give up easily. And when you're getting married, you're thinking in your head, it's gonna be all, you know what I mean, beautiful, white flowers and everything, but life really hits you.
Just to be fair, you won't actually get to know a person until you're living with them.
For
so as
sure.
much as you try and do your research,
Yeah,
date them
exactly.
for however long you want, until you're living together, you won't really know them. And it goes back to just being patient.
That's why I believe as soon as you meet a girl, you should just move in with her.
Yeah.
Just hey, come move in with me right away. You know what I
Have
mean?
a
And then
trial
we'll get to know
period
each
for a
other.
month where you just live together, and if it goes well, you know, then
Do you marry the person?
cuff the girl.
Because as Muslims, we
Yeah,
can't
you have
just
to.
move in with
Yeah.
them, right? Like I love how Adan's doing. Adan's like
But
non-Muslim
people
that
do
are like, yo,
though,
let's just
like
move in
people
together.
do. There's people who are Somali and Pakistani and Afghani and
Yeah.
Ethiopian who are Muslim and they live with with their significant other.
Yeah.
I know at the end it's haram, cool, whatever, but it's something that happens. In the perfect world, we would have halal dating and everything would work out and perfection.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works, right?
Yeah.
I think what you have to understand is when somebody has something, okay, so if I'll give you an example. If I'm dating a guy and let's say he drinks alcohol, I don't drink alcohol.
Right.
And I say, okay, you know what, once he's married though, he's going to get serious. He's going to quit drinking alcohol. He's going to quit partying. He's going to change for me because you know what, he's going to be a married man.
Yeah.
And then, come to marriage, then he lives with you in the first 3 months. He's, or then he's sitting down, he's doing what he's supposed to do. And then, Tom, Dick, and Harry call him and say, hey, let's hit the club. And if your man comes home to you intoxicated, reeking of some Henny in the bed with you, like,
Black and mass.
whatever your poison is, don't be shocked because if he couldn't change for himself, he's not going to change for you.
Understood.
And my friend was telling me, her mom said that, listen, a man who does something prior to you is going to keep doing it to after with you, as long as as it's him that wants to change, you're not going to change him.
Yeah.
People think if you get married, you're automatically a better person.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to get married, I'm going to put on a hijab, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm not going to go to the club, I'm going to wear a skirt. Dog.
6 months. Kareem, go ahead. Sorry.
Vice versa on that.
Rebuttal to what Khadija was saying, where you're saying you don't know somebody until you move, and I think part of, and this is how I approach dating, somebody's past, what they've done in their past, whether it be their morals, their ethics, how they deal with adversity, is an indication of how they're going to deal with it in the future, right? So you don't have to move in with somebody. Like if you know somebody who, one of those people, you're talking to somebody and all they ever do is complain about their problems, but they never do anything to fix their problems, that's somebody you probably don't want to marry because they don't deal with adversity. And everybody's going to have down and outs, but like if somebody, all they ever talk about is, this isn't going for me, this is going for, what are you doing to change it? Change it, and they don't take any action. To me, I don't need to marry the person and move in with them. I can already tell this person, they don't do well with adversity. I don't want them to be the mother of my children. And my dad, that's the one advice he gives to me when you're dating. He goes, when you're picking somebody you're going to marry, it's the most important decision. You're picking who's going to be the mother of your children, right? And they have to, the bar, for me, the bar is up here, right? And if I'm dating somebody and I start to see some of these traits that don't translate well, that don't meet my ideal of what they're supposed to, and what, like, and again, I use my mom as an example. To me, I'm out, right? So if somebody doesn't deal with adversity, somebody who's moody, somebody, like, you know what I mean? And people will look at me, and people have said this to me, like, Kareem, you're picky.
I was just gonna
You're
say
supposed
that.
to be
Fuck,
picky.
I'm going to be picky. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the most important decision of my life. Exactly.
Don't settle.
Exactly.
So it goes back to what your man was saying as well. Oh, this person drinks, or this person does that, and you're like this cloak of marriage. Oh, marriage is gonna fix everything. You're lying to yourself, and I think what's happening is people are lying to themselves. They get into it and they realize how tough it is, and they quit. And it's also the millennial generation, right? We give up easy. We are a society. We are a society of convenience, right? We got the Ubers, the Uber Eats. If something doesn't work, you return it, grab something else. You know what I mean? So if it doesn't work out, you just keep it moving, right? So the quote that you were saying that you lie to somebody to reel them in, and then the truth keeps them. Maybe in our parents' generation, where they're a bit more dealing with adversity, and when things don't work out, they try to work things out. Maybe that philosophy works. But this day and age, where somebody doesn't like somebody, they're looking to return it. They're looking to exchange it. They're moving on to the next thing.
Right.
Just
go ahead. Sorry.
just to add on, I feel like with what you said, it has a lot to do with how our parents, divorce wasn't an option.
They work through it. You grab the community together. Like, grab the community together. We're gonna work through the problems here. No,
Because I think our parents, you're right. Our parents were better on
So
that.
let's go. I'm gonna bring back to that actually.
I wanted to say one thing.
Go ahead, Samantha. Sorry.
Piggybacking on what you guys were saying, the analogy that I give for marriage is that marriage is kind of like a big empty box. Okay, you're gonna have a nice shiny box. That's the present. That's the marriage. It's nice. But when you open it, it's actually empty. You have to put a lot of effort into that thing. So dating is nothing like marriage. You have to try much harder. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and another thing also is that as you were saying, you lie to someone to reel them in. I don't condone lying, but the thing is, if you're in love, like Sigmund Freud said it, you have when you're in love, he calls it like a psychosis.
Right.
You're kind of insane. I don't totally agree with that, but what I'm saying is that it's kind of true that you see this person in this light, that they're the apple of your eye, and even when they do things wrong, to you it's still right. But the thing is, if you step back a little bit and think about it logically, not so emotionally, you'll see those cues. Oh, she's complaining a lot. You know what I mean? Oh, we're stuck in traffic for 5 minutes, but then afterwards she's complaining for 20 minutes about the traffic. You know what I mean? Like little things. Guys, they do things like that too. They pick up on those little cues, and that's sometimes when your friends criticize and say, I don't know if he's the right one for you, or he's crazy, you're crazy, he's perfect. You know what I mean? Pick up on those small things and try to deal with it before you take that big leap.
If you
know
ask
what I mean?
men and women, if you ask like a friend and be like, "Oh, what are you looking for in a wife or a husband?" and you just look at the things that they'll list off, a lot of them most times will be superficial things. Like you'll get girls being like, the guy has to have a beard. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, how is that indicative of making a good or a bad husband? For example, this may be a little bitter because I can't grow a beard, but that's aside from the point. No, right? But you know what I mean? So what we're looking for in a spouse, like you got to look for those things. You want somebody who has hustle, somebody who has drive, somebody like living in a Western society. Like she's got to be a mother. She's got to go to work. Like she's got to take a lot of responsibility just because where we live. Somebody who can do that. You got to be looking for those things. Not he's 6 feet tall or he's got a beard, or on the other side of things she's got to have a fat ass. She's got to have this. None of that is gonna help you when your marriage is breaking and like you know what I mean, going in shambles.
Couple
right? Marriage is a lot more than Instagram pictures and likes.
Right?
You need a team.
But the thing is, going on that real quick, people need to be compatible.
No.
That's the thing. Love does not trump it all.
So
love does not trump it all. You got to be compatible.
Absolutely agree with that, and I want to touch. I want to touch on that for a minute, but I want to bring it back to the courtship. Let's bring it back to the inception of that union, right?